Thank you so much to everyone who's joining us. My name's Surbi. We'll do introductions in a second, but yeah, welcome to the CityLAB Semester in Residence info session. So these are our hosts. One, Isabella. I'll let you all introduce ourselves, but my name's Surbi. My pronouns are she, her. I'm in arts and science, and I'm one of the Semester in Residence ambassadors. I'll
Hello,
pass to Isabella.
Thank you, Surbi. Hi, everyone. My name is Isabella. My pronouns are she, her, and I am also one of the Semester in Residence ambassadors this year as a 2023 alum.
Yeah. And hello, I'm the instructor side of things. My name's Randy Kay. I use he, him pronouns. And yeah, I'm really excited to get underway here and learn about the CityLAB Special Residence Program with you all.
And we also have some CityLAB alum here who will introduce later in the session when it's time for the panel. Also, this session is being recorded, so you will have access to that later, and we'll also send you these slides. So feel free to make notes, but we'll also send you these. And also hold on to your questions till the end. We'll have a Q&A session. You can write them down, but just in case we answer them in our presentation, you can save them till the end. Here's our agenda for today. So we're starting with this presentation, and we'll do an intro to CityLAB, an overview about the course structure and the grading, the application process and logistics, some past project examples, and then we'll move on to the panel discussion with our lovely panelists, and then end with our Q&A session. So to start with a land acknowledgement, the city of Hamilton, which is where I'm calling in from, is situated on the traditional territories of the Erie, Huron, Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississauga people. This land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant. The Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt is an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe people to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes, taking only what we need and ensuring that we leave enough in the dish for others. The Between the Lakes Purchase of 1792 between the Crown and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation also covers this land.
Okay, so jumping right into who are we, what are we doing here today, and what are you all doing here today? So introduction to CityLAB Hamilton. CityLAB is an innovation hub that brings together student, academic, and civic leaders to, as we say, co-create a better Hamilton for all. That is the mission. CityLAB is a fairly new startup in the last few years. But in those last few years, we have accomplished so much in the hopes of provoking students and city leadership to inspire, energize, and build a healthy, sustainable, and vibrant city. CityLAB Hamilton partners with Mohawk College, Redeemer University, and McMaster to produce various research projects. And there's also the Semester in Residence program, which is for McMaster and Redeemer students, which you are all here to learn about. So in the last 4 or 5 years or so, I think this data is maybe 1 or 2 years dated, but we've had 85 students participate in SIR, 5 and more faculty members, over 17 projects, and over 10,000 hours completed in the program. So lots of exciting things are happening in the last few years. In terms of SIR, or Semester in Residence, this is a 15-unit community-engaged and experiential learning program. 15 units meaning the equivalent of 5 3-unit courses. It takes place in the fall semester from September to December. The program is run in partnership with CityLAB Hamilton in order to bring all of you brilliant young minds with academic and civic leaders to co-create a new vision for the city. The schedule for SIR is Monday to Friday every day from around 9:30 to 4:30 p.m., We'll get into the weekly schedule in more detail a bit later in the session, but this is also not run on our central main campus. It is run downtown Hamilton in the CityLAB Innovation Hub, which is located right beside City Hall at 58 Jackson Street West. So we have lots of cool opportunities to explore downtown, to explore the city. That is where our hub is from a day-to-day basis. Some frequently asked questions at this point. These are all available on our website. So when you go to apply, please take a gander through the website, check out those FAQs. But two that we get very often are, does participation in this program require living in a specific residence? The answer is no. I know that the title is a bit misleading, semester in residence, but our in residence just means we're away from campus. So the whole semester will be downtown. Is CityLAB SIR offered in the winter, spring, summer terms? The answer is also no. So this is a fall-only semester from September to December. Okay, and the theme for this year, it was also our theme this past fall 2020 and 2023, and will be the theme going forward. How might we build a climate resilient future? So you can find more information about this theme on the website. It was essentially developed in alignment with the City of Hamilton's new climate mitigation adaptation strategies, which came out in 2022, I believe. So last semester, all of our students worked with community partners and city partners on a project that was specifically related to climate justice, climate resiliency, climate change in some way. And that got us critically thinking about what a climate resilient future might look like in Hamilton. And that is also the goal for the upcoming fall 2024.
So CityLAB is an immersive experiential journey. It's what you'll be doing full time, and it contains two parts. So the first is classes, 4 classes, each taught by a different instructor. There's dialogue, design, project management, and city building, which Isabel will go further into later. And the second part of the program is your experiential project, where you work with a team of your peers and a community partner on a real problem in the city of Hamilton. So the two parts are design and dialogue inquiry and the project experience. So design and dialogue, that will be some of the courses, and the project, which you're also marked on, is the second other 9 units of the project. You do have to take both of these courses at the same time, so you can't just take one or the other. And this is equivalent to a 15-unit academic term. Some students do overload, but it's not recommended, as this is already a full course load. And it's recommended that you talk to your academic advisor about how this could fit into your program. It could contribute to your program requirements or to your elective requirements, but you can also apply first and talk to your academic advisor after.
And getting into a bit more detail about what these courses look like. So dialogue is one of them. Some topics covered in this course are interpersonal skills, self-awareness and critical reflexivity, relationship management, cultural humility, collaboration and conflict resolution, and dialogue facilitation. If you don't know what some of these words mean, don't worry, you will learn them in the course. Some of the learning outcomes are to display capacities to achieve effective deliberative dialogue between and within municipal governments, organizations, community groups, and citizens, and to develop a greater awareness and understanding of community engagement practices and critical reflexivity. Some of the typical course assignments or projects for the dialogue class, we often do a lot of reflecting, a lot of written reflections, verbal reflections. There's also the opportunity to host what we call a dialogue event or a community engagement event for your term-long project. So that usually comes in November, like mid to late November. There's a dry run for that, and then the actual event that you host for community members, whether it's the general public, whether it's students. So that is encompassed under dialogue. The other is design. So some topics covered in design or design thinking, understanding and addressing assumptions in complex problems, brainstorming to challenge barriers and develop solutions to problems, comparing potential solutions and who will be impacted. And what we did last semester for some of our coursework was building persona profiles and user journey maps. And one of the learning outcomes is to apply design thinking, research, and methods to examine a topic of focus from an end user perspective. So if you have specific questions about what these assignments look like, feel free to ask us at the end. Project management. So this is where the bulk of your, I guess, like in-class learning from your term-long project experience will come from or will be supplemented with. So in this course, you'll learn about project scoping and developing a work plan. How do you stick to that work plan? How do you work effectively with your teammates? Stakeholder mapping and building relationships with these stakeholders, intentional research and feedback collection, and how to generate solutions to complex problems and collaborate with others in an engagement sort of setting. And one of the learning outcomes is to display a range of these soft skills that are required for effective project management and that will be crucial going forward in your careers post McMaster, such as purposeful communication, navigating power imbalances in team environments, conflict resolution, and creativity. And lastly, we have city building. So this is a very exciting course in the program. I'm sure a lot of our lovely alumni can attest to how wonderful this course is. This is where a lot of your kind of experiential learning and interaction with the Hamilton community comes from. We do a lot of guest speakers. We do a lot of trips, like field trips in this course. We attend city council meetings. So on the slide here are some examples of things we've done, like waterfall hikes, exploring downtown revitalization. We've been to one of the farms in Hamilton to look at urban agriculture and the agriculture industry. So lots of exciting stuff from this course.
So roughly this is what our schedule looked like last term or last semester. So we would have classes in the morning and project sessions, work sessions in the afternoon. And so what it will look like next year is subject to change according to the course experience surveys. But roughly this is the idea that half of your time is with your course, and then half of it is with your project group working on your project. So like Isabella was mentioning, we have city building every week where we get to do interactive things, and yeah, and lectures and guest speakers. And in-class design exercises that let you practice some of the skills before you have to use them in your dialogue event. This was what our marking scheme looked like last semester, also subject to change, but you will see at the top 20% is attendance, professionalism, engagement. So just to note that you're expected to be there every day, and it's very fun to be there. So I hope you are there. Then another big portion is your project agreements or any sort of assignments you do with your group, which are sort of your project planning sort of documents that you do with your group. There are also reflections like Isabella was talking about earlier with dialogue, as well as the practice dialogue event that you do in class, and also design assignments that Isabella also mentioned, like this persona assignment, journey map, as well as these final culminating tasks that are the dialogue delivery, so the real dialogue event, and the project delivery at the final showcase, and your final report that you hand in. There are also passion projects, which we did last year and were marked, which were very fun. I did a song and everyone relates it to something that is related to CityLAB. Isabella, do you want to share what you did?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it'll be changed for the upcoming fall 2024 term, but last semester we had free range to do something that was even beyond the climate change, climate justice theme of the course. So just anything that we were passionate about. I did a photography exhibit kind of thing, where I took pictures around downtown to see how people weren't necessarily using public spaces once it got cold outside, and kind of like how our public spaces aren't really condoning this sense of community. So I took photographs, I put them up on the wall, I had like a written piece. So that was my passion project. And there were so many different ones as well. So if you're curious at all about what other students did and what our other alumni did, feel free to ask us, um, or yeah, connect with us in another way.
Yes. It was a very cool passion project. Isabella did.
Yours was
Okay.
so cool.
So who's eligible? Anyone who's entering third year or above, any faculty. It's an interdisciplinary cohort. Now, different faculties or programs will have different requirements, so that might be a limitation, but everyone's allowed. There is no minimum GPA requirement, but it could come into play when evaluating applications. And also, it's for anybody who wants an experiential project, where you get to practice your group work skills, explore real world problems, see what making change looks like, also develop some professional skills and a network, and other skills, public speaking and communication, active listening, and be part of a very tight-knit, fun, cute cohort, and enjoy learning.
Okay, so I'm sure many of you are very eager for this section, the application process. If you are thinking about applying or you're currently in the midst of applying, so we're just going to break down what you can expect from the application process and some of the logistics as well. The first thing, and arguably the most important aspect of your application, is your statement of interest. And this is your chance to explain to us why SIR is a good fit for you. What do you bring to the table? What do you hope to get out of the program? What are you excited for? What do you want to learn? So this is your chance to kind of basically show yourself off and tell us some exciting things. There is a 500 word limit. In the past, this has been flexible, so take with that what you will. Please don't give us like a 2,000 page statement of interest, but there is some flexibility there. It can be single spaced or double spaced, no standards for fonts or anything, as long as it's readable. So yeah, and then these bullet points here are essentially taken from the application form itself. So make sure you are answering why you're interested in participating, the skills you hope to gain from the program, the contributions you hope to bring to the program and to your colleagues, and what you imagine you'll take away from the program as you continue on with your career. A tip that we have for you is to take into consideration the principles of community engagement, as well as the theme for this year, climate justice, climate resiliency, and tie these uniquely with why you're interested in being a part of the program and what you hope to gain from it. The second aspect is a current updated version of your CV or your resume. Don't worry if you are kind of looking at what the program entails and you're worried like, oh, I don't have any community engagement experience or any experiential project management experience. That is okay. We're looking for students who have a wide range of experience, skills, backgrounds. Like Serby mentioned earlier, we are a very interdisciplinary cohort. So we love to see what you have done, your academic background, your volunteer background. So yeah, no pressure in that. Just consider maybe what makes you stand out. And the third is the unofficial transcript. So you don't need to submit your official transcript. We know that costs money to get. So if you follow these steps, this is where you can access your unofficial transcript on Mosaic and just download it and submit that. That is sufficient.
So some of the logistics dates, applications are due May 20th. That's Monday night. There could be an extension depending on how many acceptances, how many applications we get, or a wait list. Usually about 30 students are accepted from McMaster and Redeemer. There's also no interview process, just the written application, and decisions should come out within a couple weeks after the final application deadline. And here's also the link to apply. We'll send out these slides, so you'll have anything that's on here. And these are some of the past projects. So these are the projects from last semester, and they're all climate related. All of them were partnered with a community partner. And if you go to this link that's on the slide, that I can also send in the chat, you can see more about the projects, also read the final reports, and you can also find other projects from past years. Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of projects, we are now shifting gears a little bit into our SAR experience and project panel discussion. So joining us today are several lovely alumni. I will let them all introduce themselves. But if you have any questions for our alumni specifically throughout the panel, feel free to pop them in the chat to ask them throughout the panel or at the end, and we'll answer those as well as your other questions that you may have had during our presentation. So Rand, if you want to start us off, just introduce yourself, maybe your name, pronouns, what program you're in or have graduated from, and your year.
Okay, so first of all, hi everyone, and welcome to the webinar. My name is Rand Elwazan, and I go by she, her, and I'm going into my fourth year of Honors Environmental Sciences, and I did CityLAB last semester, in the fall semester, and I'm also an interactive content creator with CityLAB.
I can go next then. So yeah, my name is Madura. My pronouns are she, her, and I just graduated from the biology and psychology program at McMaster.
Yeah, I guess I will go next as well. My name is Oyin. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm in the Arts and Science program at McMaster University, currently pursuing a minor in globalization. Very excited to chat with you all today about CityLAB. I always tell people that it's the best academic decision I've made so far. That being said, I just finished my third year, so there's still many academic decisions to be made, but it's a great decision if you're on the fence about it.
Hi everyone, my name is Nalika. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a 2021 alumni. I was also an ambassador as well. I finished my degree in biology at McMaster and then went on to finish my MPH just last year. So excited to be here and tell you guys about CityLAB. Yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Amrit. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm actually graduating from the Bachelor of Health Science program next week. So CityLAB was my final part of my final year, and I'm super excited to talk to you about it. Like Oyin said, I would for sure rate it as like the best experience I had in undergrad. So yeah, excited to chat to you about it.
Okay, thank you everyone for your introductions. The first question we have for you is, how did you feel going into the program, and what was your first day like? Try to keep it to maybe 2 minutes per session, per question, so we can fit it within 15 minutes and have time for a Q&A. no stress if you go over a little bit. Oyin, I know you have to step out. Do you want to take a shot at answering that first question before you have to head out?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Would you be able to just reiterate it? I remember the second part, but not the first part.
For sure, yeah. It's how did you feel going into the program, and what was your first day like? If you remember and think back
I do.
way back when, and we'll pop them in the chat as well.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Honestly, I felt a little bit nervous on my like going into the program. I think it's just knowing that you're going to be in a cohort of a bunch of different people who are very talented and have done a lot of interesting things with their lives, and just uncertainty around whether or not you will fit in with them, whether or not it will be something like a job or if it will be something like a place where you make friends. So going into my first day at CityLAB was a little nerve wracking. I was also a little excited, I will say, just because I kind of gotten bored of just regular academic life, going to classes, doing assignments and such. So I was nervous and I was excited. I do actually remember the first day of CityLAB. And I just remember doing it and feeling so grateful that I had made that decision that term. There was just a lot of really interesting people who had done a lot of really interesting things. It was really lovely to do introductions with people and eat at lunch with people and go outside and go explore the city and then go to Jackson Square together and get food there and then like just explore Hamilton from east to west together and just go on all the side quests that you could ever imagine while also doing school and academic work. So I just really enjoyed every moment that I spent at CityLAB. Yeah, that first day was a little nerve-wracking, but I was very grateful within that week just to have so many great conversations with different people, and to reach out to different people and meet a lot of friends who I am still connected with, and very grateful for the connections that we forged together. Yeah. Isabella, Isabella, I just had another question. Do you want me to also answer the second question, or do you want me just to, what's the order?
Do you have time? Are you able to answer
Yeah.
that? Okay, sure. Yeah, we'll probably do once you head out, just everyone answers the first question and then the second question. But for now, since we're on a timeline, so yeah, the second question is, what was your project? Tell us about your experience working with your group and community partner and creating your deliverables.
Yes. Okay. So I worked for the SCORE team. So SCORE, I actually have forgotten what it stands for, but it is a program based out of McMaster that works to address disparities in health outcomes for low-income and newcomer populations in East Hamilton, specifically the Riverdale West and East neighborhood. So I worked with a team of 5 other individuals, and they were from a bunch of different faculties. I'm arts and science. We had some health science students, an engineer. We had some social science students. We had science students, I believe. It was just people from all across every faculty you could imagine. I guess save for humanities, but there were many people, many faculties represented. And we created a 40+ page toolkit that basically outlined activities and strategies that could help people get more in alignment with healthy active living strategies in their area. So the purpose of that was to just create this baseline toolkit that could be translated into different languages and support with newcomer communities who sometimes have difficulties in finding healthy active living strategies and activities in a new context in a different country. So that was something that was very important to my heart because my parents came as immigrants in the early 2000s and it was just a very different time. And I know that a lot of us working in the group had very similar stories. We worked with community partners that were based at McMaster, but we also went into the Riverdale community and did environmental scans, which was basically looking around the community and determining, seeing with our eyes what types of healthy active living strategies and activities were there, and then compiling them into a list. And compiling them into that toolkit. And then we also attended a community advisory board meeting, which was basically this board that of Riverdale parents and guardians who gather together and share what their needs are with the SCORE team, and the SCORE team works to address those needs. So that was really insightful, just seeing what people needed, as well as what people wanted, and getting that hands-on experience and learning how to support communities in a hands-on manner. The toolkit will hopefully be translated into a number of different languages and used across a variety of different neighborhoods, with high proportions of people who are low income or people who have newcomer backgrounds. So that's just to show you guys that the work that you do at CityLAB does have impact in the communities that you're in. And something hopefully you'll get to hear later on in the webinar is how even beyond that project experience, because that's what I've mainly been speaking about, there are other opportunities for you to create work that has impact, whether it be through your passion projects or other projects that take different form. Randy's a big fan of prototyping, and I'm sure if you do semester in residence, you will hear about prototypes either he has made or prototypes in general, and just the process of trying something, it not working, trying again, maybe it doesn't work again, trying again, and just revising as time goes on. But the highest praise to CityLAB. I love CityLAB. I will tell anyone and everyone who will let me tell them. And I hope that you guys can join CityLAB next year.
Thank you so much, Oyin. It was lovely to have you. I know you have to rush off, but yes, and I'm sure our other alumni will echo your sentiments. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, back to our first question. How did you feel going into the program? What was your first day like? I will pass it to Rand if you'd like to share.
Yeah, sure. I feel like Oyin said it all. She literally said everything. Definitely for me too. It was like a very similar experience. I was also like a bit nervous, especially entering like the room. It's a different kind of like setup and different like space. It's not like campus. It's like a different space. It's like a home actually. So like you're sitting in like in front of like the other students. You're kind of like talking back and forth and like kind of like discussing everything you're talking about, and there's like from the first minute you get that there's a lot of interaction and there's a lot of engagement in the room. So it's definitely like the part of engagement is definitely there. You can like you can sense it from the first minute you enter like CityLab, sir. So there was like that nervousness of like, oh, there's too many new things, but at the same time, the engagement and the excitement takes it all and just like makes you more comfortable. And also like the people, I'm so grateful. My cohort, like our cohort was so great. It had many amazing people and we just like vibed with each other and we just like became so close so quickly, and everything after that went so great. And like the collaboration and the teamwork is like it's very great. Like I know that a lot of students may be scared about teamwork or may not like teamwork. I've heard many students saying like I don't like group projects and stuff, but CityLab is all about group project, which may intimidate some people. But CityLab, like the way CityLab is structured, is to teach you how to effectively work in team settings, and to how like it teaches you everything about how to deal with the smallest problems to the biggest problems that could you could encounter in a team setting, and how to solve these issues and stuff. So like after finishing it, you feel so confident with working with any team. Like you would be so confident working and getting involved in any team work project without any hesitation that, oh my God, what if I can't manage it? What if problems happen? So this is like a very important thing that me personally experienced, that I really love about CityLab, which is like now I never scare like group work because like I know how to deal with it. So this is basically I think I went beyond the question, but yeah, like this was the first day. About my project, I work with the Office of Climate Change Initiatives with the City of Hamilton, the OCCI. We had a project about climate justice specifically, and we basically created a climate justice framework, which involved actually a lot of interviews with different stakeholders from different disciplines. We conducted many interviews. We hosted an event, which is the dialogue event that Isabella mentioned, where we invited city staff, like professors, many like people from very different disciplines and backgrounds, and just like collected their thoughts and their the information that they have about climate justice. And lastly, we kind of like analyzed all of the data and came up with 5 main themes. And from these 5 themes, we developed roughly from 10 to 15 recommendations for each of the themes. And we like kind of like put it in a report, and this report was sent to the city of Hamilton, which will be used by city staff to work on the climate justice framework that they are building for the city of Hamilton. So you can definitely see your impact, as Oyin mentioned. You can definitely see that you're helping, and also not only like seeing that you're helping and engaged with the city, you can also tell that like you can realize things that you've never really thought about around the city. Like you start noticing some problems that you've never really thought about, or you've never really um you have never seen before. So this is a very important thing that kind of like draws your attention to problems that you might not even think about if you don't do this work. So this is a really great thing that I went through CityLAB.
Thank you, Rand. Awesome. Okay. I think we'll switch gears a little bit and ask Malika, as a 2021 STIR alum, what was your experience or feeling going into the program, if you remember your first day? And I guess for the sake of time, you can answer the second question too. What was your project? What was that experience like?
Yeah, for sure. So my first day, yeah, it was kind of long ago. It was like 3 years ago. But I remember it very clearly because to be in CityLAB, I had actually changed my majors from molecular biology to just general biology, and also had forgone doing a thesis. So it was a very big like step for me as a science student to, switch completely from doing a thesis to doing CityLAB. And so I was really nervous my first day because I was kind of, nervous about if it would, still meet my needs as a student, but also if I would, be comfortable in such a like close knit space, especially coming out of COVID and being online all the time. But just immediately from being there the first day, you just know that CityLAB is right for you. I remember, one of our classmates just taking us on a guided tour around the neighborhood. I remember eating Nabil's that Randy had gotten for us that day, which was so good. And I remember just, feeling like probably for the first time since I was at Mac, and this was in my 4th year, that I like felt happy to be on campus, felt happy, or not on campus, I guess, but felt happy to be in a classroom, felt that I was like learning things that were really important to me and really special to me. And just like being there in that first moment, you know that it's right for you. And I just wanted to echo what Oyen said. I will say to everyone still, I'm coming back here 3 years later just to say CityLAB is the best thing I've ever done at Mac. And it truly changed the trajectory of my education and even where I am now because of it. And just in terms of what my group did, so my group was the Green Development Standards group. We worked with Environment Hamilton, so also related to climate change, and we helped develop a set of policies focusing on social equity for how the city should build sustainably. So that involved developing a set of recommendations, as a lot of other groups did. We also helped develop an infographic. We held a dialogue with very different conflicting stakeholders, which is a great challenge because, you're putting people in a room who usually don't meet or talk. And so that was really exciting. And I just want to add that literally every single interview I've done post CityLAB, I've mentioned what I did in CityLAB. It's one of the biggest things that has like helped me as an experience, where, you know, I can say I did this really amazing work that actually did contribute to change in the city, that city staff were still talking about the work that we did after. So it was something, it was great to have an impact on a city that I'd lived in for so long, but I hadn't really engaged with before. And now I actually live in Hamilton full time because I love Hamilton so much. But yeah, it was a great project and great experience.
Amazing. Yeah, that's CityLab has that effect on us. You might go into the program maybe not having very fond, affectionate feelings about Hamilton, but you leave the program absolutely loving the city that you study in and maybe live in. So thank you so much for sharing. Just keeping us on track here, maybe, Amrit, if you want to share your thoughts to the first question, and then I'll get Madura, you can share your thoughts about the second question. I hope that division is okay.
Sounds good. I think what I have to say for the first question, everyone who spoke before me kind of just like summed it up, so I'll keep it short. But like people have mentioned, CityLab is like the best experience of my life. I've mentioned it to so many people. I presented it at Poster Day, and a lot of people were just so interested in community-based research and how impactful it can be. In my past, like previous academic experiences, it's all been very confined to like lectures or like tutorials and exams and assignments, and we talk about climate change and we talk about creating change within our neighborhood, but you don't have that like tangible impact or visible impact within the people that you talk about. So I think CityLab and that experiential learning opportunity, right from like day one, I could see the impact that me and my peers, whether they be from different programs, different ages, or different interests, we can all work together and achieve that positive, tangible impact in Hamilton.
Wonderful, thank you. And Madura, your project experience?
Yeah, so I'll share my project experience, but I also wanted to start by sharing, like, adding on to everyone's sentiment and how it was like the best part of my undergrad. And I think about it often. Yeah, it's just such a like a good combination of all the good things together. My project was with the City of Hamilton Sustainable Mobility Office, and the main thing we did was we revamped 14 bike routes in Hamilton. So that was kind of fun because we got to go on some bike rides and like see what biking looked like in Hamilton. I had never biked it before, but it kind of gave me like more appreciation for Hamilton as a city and also how bikeable it is. I was just really happy to be able to explore that. And yeah, that was our main project. We had to revamp some of the old ones. So at the beginning, it started with just like PDFs. Like if you go to the City of Hamilton's website, you'll see that their routes are simply PDFs, which are not very accessible because it's hard to like know where to go, but we kind of made them into like Google My Maps. So you can simply click the link and it'll show you the path on Google Maps and you can follow. We also tried to make them accessible. We added like shorter routes for beginners. But yeah, those were some of our deliverables. And one of our like community event was when we we invited people who were local bikers or local biking organizations in Hamilton and asked them to give us feedback on the bike routes we had created so that we were actually, targeting the people we hope to target. So yeah, that's a bit about our project. I would definitely recommend.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. Miriam as well. I realize we haven't acknowledged you yet, but Miriam is one of our CityLab staff members. And so she's not directly related or involved with SIR. She's directly on the staff team for CityLab and helps with SIR programming, functioning, etc. At least last semester she did. She's just been in the chat popping in our project pages. So feel free to check those out as well. But
Can I just interject to say that
yes, Randy,
Miriam was in the program though, in the semester residence,
yes.
Right? Okay, yeah.
Yes, Miriam is also one of our CityLab SIR alumni. So
I was, and I just have to
plug my year. It was 2020 and it was fully virtual, and it was literally the best kind of experience I had during the pandemic. And I just want, like, I don't want to repeat what everyone else has already said, because like I'm gonna echo you guys. But yeah, it was a great experience. Even being virtual, it was incredible, and I'm still benefiting from it. And I also always bring it up during all my like job interviews. I would just like plug CityLAB and everything. Every connection I make with somebody when I'm networking, I bring up CityLAB and semester in residence.
Amazing. Okay, so I think we can switch gears now into the Q&A. We already have some great questions in the Q&A chat so far. If anyone else has more questions, feel free to pop them in. But we can start maybe with some of Allah's questions. And hopefully I have free range to direct these to anyone that I think could answer them. So, was it hard to balance CityLAB SIR with other courses you took? So, just did any of our alumni here overload their semester with another course or two? Okay, Rand.
Yeah, I did because the course that I was supposed to take, it was mandatory, and it's only offered in the fall semester, so I had to overload. But the course that I overloaded though was ending in October, so it wasn't like a full semester one. So until October I was doing an overload, which was fine. Because like usually a CityLAB gets a lot more busier after October with the dialogue events and the reports and the stuff. So in the beginning it's like more of a lighter work. So I didn't encounter any problems, but yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah, we typically don't recommend that students overload just because it is considered a full course load. But we do know students who have overloaded, at least last semester. At least one or two were taking maybe one or two extra courses on top. They found it manageable. You can do it if you manage your time really well, and you're making sure you're communicating well with the instructors at CityLAB. If you have to miss class time to go to lectures or tutorials, making sure you're very open with your communication, and you're aware that CityLAB will pick up a lot more post reading week. So, okay.
I would just
Sophia.
add on. Oh, sorry. I would just add on is that like I think one course could be manageable, but again, it's not recommended just because CityLAB is an everyday 9:30 to 4:30 kind of like course, and you're marked on participation, so you need to be there in person. So that might mean that you would miss the lectures on campus. So that's why it's not really recommended, and it's also like a full like it's equivalent to 5 courses. So yeah, just be aware of that. If you're gonna overload, that you would kind of like have to be in person every day for your participation marks and for your own benefit and learning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Survey, I was going to ask if you wanted to ask the next couple questions.
Oh, sure. Yeah, after taking these courses, CityLAB, did it help you in the future with finding research positions and getting involved more in the community and helping out in other projects? Does anyone have anything that this led to? Yeah, Malika, go ahead.
So specifically, so this is kind of related to research. CityLAB actually helped me get into grad school, which was amazing. I will be honest, I definitely would not have gone into grad school without CityLAB. It was just such a unique experience that really helped that I could speak to in my graduate school applications. I did a master's in public health. And that also later led on to being able to access different research opportunities. Like when I was doing my practicum for part of my master's, I relied on, again, my CityLAB experience, speaking to, working with the city, speaking to the social equity piece that we included in our work. So 100%, I would say that CityLAB gives you such transferable skills that I don't think you can as easily access or gain in your other courses, especially depending on your degree. So I was a science student. I did not have classes that taught me project management or taught me how to create policy briefs or project documents. So it was such a unique experience that really helped me in accessing those research opportunities and getting more involved in my community as well.
Wonderful. Yeah, and throughout the panel discussion, I found that this question was answered quite well by almost all of our CityLAB SIR alumni. Absolutely gives you project experience, helps you with your career and academic development. So definitely all around. Yeah.
I can read out the next question. As a new person in Canada, was the area around CityLAB safe? I saw that it was located in downtown, and I just wanted to ask what it was like there. Anyone want to answer this?
I can hop in just like from the student perspective, immediately around CityLAB, because we are located next to City Hall. It is quite safe to be there, and I don't think we ran into really any issues, any of the students last semester, from my experience. So it was quite safe, and we often travel in groups as well. So there are field trips, there are, opportunities to be in downtown, in different neighborhoods, different areas. But we do feel safe because we are in a group. So, power in numbers and whatnot. If another student wants to add on to that, I also maybe if we can hear from the instructor perspective, Randy, if you want to also contribute to that question.
Yeah, so the only thing, like, so it depends on, like, I'm 6 foot, almost 6'1", white male, I present this way to the world. So and I've lived in Hamilton downtown for a lot of my adult life. So I see it, differently, but I think the important thing is that I think there's a big mythology and there's a big separation from campus and downtown. And I think that that's what comes back after the semester in residence from the feedback from students, is that they learned to love Hamilton because they were actually in it, exposed to it. And, every city has problems, everything, there's all kinds of social issues, but that's part of the stuff that we look at as well, right? And so I think it's a very important thing to sort of have exposure to the city, and a city with issues, a city with problems, but a city with great beauty and great joy and great, a very welcoming place, actually, I think. So for me, I think it's always really comforting and rewarding to hear the feedback at the end of the semester from students about how they've grown to love Hamilton, and they're really glad that they had the opportunity to get into the downtown and get out of the Westdale area. So that's what I would add. But I think I don't encourage walking certain areas by yourself necessarily if you're feeling vulnerable. But I think we keep you safe as much as we can, and I think it's a good experience.
Okay, thank you, Randy. Switching gears to a couple of Jessica's questions. These are both related to how we choose our projects, the teams for our projects, how does the whole project logistics work? So I think we can answer them both kind of in tandem, but yeah, I can start since I'm already speaking. But in terms of how we choose our projects, we get to pick from kind of like a predetermined list of projects with predetermined community partners. So each community partner, whether it's city staff or like a nonprofit in Hamilton, they all have a specific focus or a specific need for the research and the work that we do throughout the term. So we get to learn a little bit about what are their projects, who is this community partner, what do they need, what are their expectations going into the semester and then in the first couple weeks. And from there, we decide which ones are of most interest to us. And at least what we did last semester, it was like a ranking system. So we got to rank our top, I think like top 3 choices. If you're interested in more than one project, you can rank them. Just make sure you have one that you're maybe leaning towards as your top. And from there, we are kind of placed into projects based on need. And yeah, just to make sure that there's a kind of like an equal number of students in each project team. And you don't decide your team beforehand, you decide your project, and your project decides kind of who you end up working with throughout the term. Anything to add on to those 2 questions?
That was great, I think.
I'll just say, because Malika, especially being here, will know, because the ambassadors, help create the next year in a way too, by being involved in the process. And I think with the projects this year, it's going to be a bit different. There's a new thing, is that we're going to have the project agreements done ahead of the semester. So once you apply, accepted into the program, and it will be in communicating with you, and we'll give you the projects ahead of time. So the students in the past have got it like in the first couple of weeks of the semester. So there will be some sort of ability to rank your choices, but the main consideration is often around getting a diverse group of backgrounds into each group, so that we have different faculties represented, different experiences and stuff. So we look at sort of everything that you've contributed up to that point to sort of divide up. And yeah, I think that's only a change. It's big because we have to figure out how to do that ahead of time. But it's actually pretty much the same. You can still get to rank your project choices.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So we only have a couple minutes left here. Jessica did have another question about what class at Mac do you think prepared you most for CityLAB? So maybe when we're answering Ala's question, if all of our SIR alumni want to pop in the chat what you think, what course kind of prepared you most, you can give maybe a short blurb why, or just pop in the course code if you have one. And we'll go ahead and answer Ala's question. So are students expected to work outside of school hours? If so, how many hours after 4 p.m.? Jumping in on this now, I would say no. The reason that we have it set up as we do in the weekly schedule screenshot that we presented earlier, you are given time to work on your projects within the kind of 9:30 to 4:30 window. So a lot of students, when we had our seminars, lectures in the morning, then we had lunch, students stayed behind to work with their project teams on their project, or they kind of kept that time for themselves so that they can work on their design assignments or their dialogue reflections. So you can kind of split up the time how you see fit. It's definitely not expected or required that you work after 4 p.m. unless you want to, unless you maybe want to get ahead of the game. I know sometimes I personally did that just to make sure I'm completing everything, but it's not expected.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. And that's been a change. Like the 1 year before, we did 4-day work week, thinking it would be, a good way of giving people time to do their other responsibilities. But we went back to the 5 days in class, but built in that time, like Isabella's explained, and that gives you time. You don't have to worry about work, work you're doing at CityLAB when you go home, or you go to your part-time job, or whatever you're doing, with your family or friends. So it sort of like frees up your weekends and your evenings. That's the intention. And so that's sort of, I think it seemed to really work well last year, and I think that's why we're kind of keeping that there. So yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So that concludes our time for today. I'm sorry we're 1 minute over, but if you have any other questions, Serby, do you want to share our screen just for the contact information. You can reach out to us from the student side if you have any questions about our student experience. We have our sirmbass@mcmaster.ca, our email. You can reach out to us on Instagram, on LinkedIn. If you have any inquiries about the program or about the application process, or you want to hear from an instructor, please email Randy. His email is there, krl@mcmaster.ca. So yeah, we'll try to get these slides emailed to you all. And thank you all so much for joining. We hope to see your applications come in and you in the program this fall.